Good evening or afternoon. I'm always getting that wrong. I guess it's in our old days. It was evening after 6 p.m. It's 5 p.m. here in New Orleans Central Time. So if you happen to be outside that zone, then maybe it's already evening for you. Regardless, we want to welcome you. This is our third session of resources resolutions, which for those who maybe have not found out about us yet or certainly has not joined us, we are trying to establish a free, it's a big important word, free, collaborative network of both nonprofits and for profits. There are numerous networks in New Orleans for either group, but only one that is a collective like ours. And their main mission is for the very large goals of climate control, crime, all major city uh, improvements. Whereas our goal is a little lower than that bar, and we want to actually help the individual person, the individual organizations, so each of them can thrive in our city. So we'll let the other group take care of making it a comfortable climate and safe, etc., and workable. And we'll have all of our Trojans in there working to make our society welcome to everyone and providing the necessary products and services that we all need to thrive. So, with that, we have a couple of lovely young people with us today, Mr. and Mrs. Brian Macon. Brian is a steadfast. Ah, there we go. Look how nice, folks. Brian is a steadfast. He's been friends for years, and we've worked on other projects over the time. His lovely wife joined us today. She is actually the principal of an elementary school in Jefferson Parish on our West Bank. And it's called Concordia Elementary. If I got it, the exact name correct. Hopefully, I'm right. And so we're pleased that she joined us. I did a little help for them in the past, in that we helped them out a little bit with doing an auction, a gala. They had a gala and wanted to raise some funds besides the admission price, with typical galas for those who know what those events are, and some auctions. So that way they were able to raise a few dollars to help out in the needs of the school and the students. Okay, so we are pleased that we have a couple of people. We're to welcome anyone new who's watching. We want to tell you we do have, as we mentioned last time, which was two weeks ago on Thursday, or a week ago, and every other Thursday. So whatever that date is, my old mind doesn't keep track well. We added another way to join us besides online, besides the standard YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We've added meetup.com. Now, meetup.com is not really an online, even though they do a lot of online presentations and virtual sessions. But meetup.com originally was founded years ago for in-person meetings or get-togethers of people with like ideas or passions, whether it's a craft, whether it's politics, philosophy, etc. I happened to use them when I had my TV show and dining club that we would patronize the restaurants that were on the TV show. So it worked out very well, and so we went back to them to give another. And we're fortunate to say that we got. Well, we had 4 people who joined our group. I do individual welcomings to them, one of which who unfortunately chose the wrong group. She was not looking for us and could have, whatever her reasons, she's not going to. But we have 3 others, 2 of which I have not welcomed that happened today. And we also have 2 new YouTube subscribers. So that's great. That's great. I hope that all of them will, so the ones who can, of course, join us in person, which we love to meet you in the flesh, as they say, but also long as you watch and participate. And we'll talk about those ways again when we during the show, rather than just waste too much of your time this morning on the beginning of the show. I'll get it right. The other thing we wanted to talk about is we also have a new in-person member, and really she's an old friend of mine. And we, of course, are looking for female entrepreneurs because, they are making tremendous headways in all endeavors. And we certainly want them to be a part of, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, to help us out and help them grow. And this young lady is a seamstress and a mother two young boys who one of them is following in her, or maybe both. I don't know if they both do. She's actually, as I say, a seamstress who is now, in addition to doing her work for people's alterations or creation, she's a designer, so she does create some clothing for adults. Uh, but she also is actually conducting classes right now during the summer. I think it's 4 week classes or during the month. I didn't get all the details yet. Where she's mentoring young ladies and boys. Of course, not every guy want, even though it's so important. I wish I knew how to sew a button on it. I wouldn't have to take it somewhere. Um, so she's doing a great job with that, and she's done so well with it that she actually is also, listen to this, and this is capitalizing on some other ideas. She put an adult program in, and it's not as structured with regard to X number of weeks, X number of days. It's on Saturday, and I think it's late afternoon or early evening. But it's called. Oh, I didn't mention first of all her parent company name for her own work and what she's doing in the teaching. I believe is Rags to Stitches. Cute name instead of rag. Play off of old terms. And I had posted during the week her logo and what's alongside of ours and a little bit about her. And we're going to be featuring because she has another new company coming on as well. So we'll talk about that as well. But back to the adult education in sewing or whatever it's called, sew and sip. Now, normally you don't have to have, we all have to hydrate all day long, but I think this is for perhaps an adult cocktail so that the people who attend can not only learn how to do whatever they want to do in the line of sewing, but they also can do it in a very enjoyable thing. Now, she said, Bob, there's no hard liquor, so make sure we explain that. So I think these would be maybe wines or some of these softer. Anyway, she wanted to be explicit on that, so she won't think we're encouraging people to go out and get inebriated. That's certainly not the case. But she's doing well with that. Of course, she heretofore has only had ladies, but who knows? So, and we can put you in touch, and she'll be keeping in touch with us as well. And one other thing, she started a lovely service, and I'm going to get this wrong because I've forgotten the name, and we'll be posting a separate post for her and also doing shows on her. She does memorial bears, I'm calling it. That's not the proper name. Whereby if a family or a mother, a father, any parent loses a child for any reason to pass it on, she will ask the loved one to give her a piece of the clothing, whether it's a whole dress, a sweater, or for boys as well, a jacket. And she will make a bear, and there's two sides. I'm getting like too, I don't want to get too much detail, so we're ready. But anyway, for that person to remind them of their lost loved one. Not only that, she goes to the extent of even putting one or two push recorders inside. So she has gotten from the family any type of recorded voice singing that the child has done in their lifetime. She includes it in there, and all they have to do is push on the arm or wherever it is, and they will hear those phrases for us. So it really adds a lot of meaning. I think it's a great idea. Anyway, we'll feature it more, and that's what we want to do. We want to show you whether you're a nonprofit or for profit, things like that. We want to feature your services, and as we grow in person, we want those people to actually be on instead of me or in addition to me, talking about and showing you exactly what they have to offer so you will patronize them, whether it's mentoring students at a nonprofit only like this or some of these other things that actually produce products. So that's a combination of a nonprofit, which she is, working with a for-profit concept, even though she's not doing both things. But she would sell, she is selling to the outside, so that money that goes to that goes into her nonprofit. Anyway, we won't go into those details, but I think it's a lovely thing. I'm so proud of her because we've been going back way back when I just needed some work on some stuff I was doing. Okay, so that's the new member that we're so proud of and presenting. Her name, by the way, is Lakita, and her company name again is Rags, the number 2 Stitches, and again and Sip and Sew and I don't remember the bear name, which we'll bring up. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Commercial, unpaid commercial. The next thing is something I've been talking about for a while. For any of the people who listen to me, it's called the new, my term in most situations, it's called a new business report. Okay. I learned about this way back in 2014, something like this, that the city, parish, we have parishes, not counties here, but if you're looking from outside of Louisiana, um, obviously they do a lot of data collection for their own purpose and predominantly for tax purposes. um, they sell, if you want to have a business, whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit, you have to have what's called an occupational license. Okay. Nowadays they do charge a little bit for that, like 15, I think it's $25. Before it was like, anyway, it's a nominal fee. But what it does, it provides you with a certificate that you're supposed to display somewhere where public comes in, can see it, that shows that you are a registered Louisiana occupation, for profit or non-profit. You've been registered with the Secretary of State, and you've got your occupational license. Because when you do have to pay taxes, and everybody says, "Oh, a non-profit don't pay taxes." Yeah, there's still some taxes. We're not going to go into those kind of details today, but when you do pay taxes, your license number will all be part of all of the forms, anything you have to do with the state and sometimes the local parish, like in these situations that will issue the occupation license, will carry that number. Okay. Because of that, they obviously collect that, those assign your detail, your demographics, the license number they assign to you, and there's some other identifying codes that are very important. We'll talk about in describing this. And that way, and then the date that you formed, and of course the date that you renewed, if you continue from year to year, because you have to renew it on an annual basis. So they collect all that information. In Jefferson Parish, it's the sheriff who has all that information and provides it to a public, non-public entity called JEDCO. Okay. And what they do is they take that data and create this report for all of their members who live in Jefferson Parish and participate. And there's a nominal fee, but what they do is it gives a list of all of the, since they do it on a monthly basis, gives a list of all of the occupational licenses that have been issued in that month. So, okay. Now, well, Bob, why do you want this? Okay. And then Baton Rouge, lucky Baton Rouge, because, it's the state capital. They actually put their information online on their website. So any of the nonprofits or for-profits or anyone who's interested can go on their website for free and see that detail. Jefferson, I don't believe, puts it on the website. You have to purchase it. And we're coming to the real nemesis, Orleans, okay? But let's finish with Jefferson. Basically, like I say, it gives this list. Why would we need it? Why would anyone need it? Well, for the nonprofits, it's important because one or two things. If you're getting ready to do a nonprofit, you would like to know in your area, in your parish or neighborhood, how many maybe like entities. I mean, if someone down the block is doing the same thing as your organization, could be a lot of overlap. And not that we're trying to deprive you of your passion or the revenue associated with doing mentorship. It's the idea you will be more successful, obviously, if you don't have tons of competitors, whether you're for-profit or non-profit. That's just common sense. So that gives you a lay of the land. And for what we want to do, and remember, our thing is free, forget on that, collaborative network. Collaborative. So we want our members to be able to collaborate with each other within their own sphere, the nonprofit, even if it's just in the people who do the same thing as you, but somewhere else in the neighborhood. But it's very important as a tool, certainly when you're formulating what you're going to do, to look. I mean, I'll tell you, with this and all the medical schools, dental schools, that's the first, and probably in all colleges nowadays, and certainly in the business, they do a thing called match day. And so then they match you up with colleges. But after that, during that, when you're selecting what you're going to major in, which especially when you get into these subspecialties, they're going to be able to tell you how many other dentists are in your area. or how many other oral surgeons or heart surgeons. So it's important. It's important to you, so you know. Well, do I want to? If I already have 100 in the same little, am I going to really make a dent? Should I go outside that and go somewhere else if I want to pursue that passion? So that's very important in decision making as you start a business, also as you continue a business. For us, it's important for us to know, and also for our members to develop friendships, relate, because that's the networking part. Okay, the collaboration is one, but most strangers don't collaborate. Okay, so they have to know each other. And what better way if they've never met any of these people, but in this kind of an organization where they can meet people of their like minds or like services or products and develop relationships that hopefully will mushroom into big things. Now, say the worst or the best for last. Orleans had none, did not provide, they captured the information, but nowhere was it presentable, except for the departments that were responsible for our city to use that. So back in 15, I happened to have some very little influence, friend in power, as the case saying. We worked on that. We didn't personally work on it because I can't do that IT work, but we were able to have Orleans Parish create one, to create the same kind. Now it's slightly different, and again, all of these have little nuances about how much information they provide. Generally speaking, this report will have, might have your license number if you want it. I'm sure it does. It's going to have the name of the owner if it's provided, certainly the name of the organization. It's going to have the mailing address and zip code. And the two things that most people don't even think or know about when you sign up, the thing called a NAIC, which we provide to our members that help them, and someone will help you if you had to register for any of these things. And what that stands for is North American Industry Code. That's a series. It used to be 4 digits years ago when I was, nowadays, because we have so many different specialties and subspecialties and everything, that it's now a 6-digit number. And the first 4-digit range indicates the nature of the business. Okay. And what we're going to do here, we're going to give out to the lucky people who attended today a sample of the Jefferson, because we've had that for a while. But what I did do with Jefferson is came up with a few shekels, as they say, and was able to talk them into doing 2 things. One, in addition to the monthly report that I get and pay for, to create a total report from day one, which happens to go back to 1954. I was alive, you weren't. But anyway, so way back till my early childhood, I guess I could say. And what does it include? It includes every organization, for profit and non-profit. There you go, there's the key, that have had an occupational license since 1954. Now that's their start date. But remember, every year they have to just like pay that, whatever that fee is, or to get that renewal on the anniversary. So any companies that didn't stay in line, that's not active today, from 1954 to now, they won't be on the list. But just to give you some size, and I don't know the total population of Jefferson Parish nowadays. I was chit-chatting, maybe Brian, you don't know it offhand, huh? Approximately? You bring the number with you? Okay. The important thing is that it used to be that Jefferson for a while was larger than Orleans. Well, Orleans was larger than most places until Katrina. Baton Rouge, I think, is the largest right now, East Baton Rouge Parish. And I think Jefferson might be second, and Orleans might be third. I'm hoping Orleans is third. Oh, it's correct? Okay. Well, anyway, in the Jefferson Parish mode, I asked them also, we're sorting these codes. We asked them to sort the entire codes by NAIC codes. That way, everything will be grouped together. All the nonprofits will be together. All the doctors, all the HVAC people, car people will all be grouped together by that code, okay? And since it has the zip codes and the addresses, you'll know where they're located. Okay, with that construction or formatting, we came out that and I asked them, instead of to make 2 reports, the larger report is what we call the East Bank of the Mississippi River, The smaller is the West Bank, using the zip codes that are within those two confines. The East Bank actually has, and don't quote me on this exact number, 12,000, I believe it's 404, 40, something like that, over 12, not 13,000, active occupational licensed business in their parish on the East Bank. The West Bank, where our folks here live or reside and work, has 7,000, maybe 242. So the total is a little under 20,000 active employees, active organizations, excuse me, not employees. Now, Orleans, I think it's going to be higher if they go back to inception today. My problem is trying to reconnect because when we did this back in 2015 and 16, there was, as things will go, politics happened. People know that. And the person that I knew who might have been in charge went by the wayside because we had a new administration came in, who no longer made the information was out there very short time. So it was still done internally, but not provided even to the departments that are the ones that were entitled to such. So I've been trying for years. I finally have been able to reconnect with the individual as of today. And I've used every power to be, including some people in this room, to try and get to that person and or their department head who I've spoken to try and see. One is I was shocked that they're still here, but two, to try and get a reestablishment of this report and an availability of this report, even if it's a paid availability. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to tighten this thing. It looks like it keeps going crooked, so I apologize for that. Lo and behold, finally, as luck would have it, I've been calling, leaving messages, trying. The young lady answered the phone today. I don't know if she knew. I know she didn't know who was calling. It was obviously a surprise. Make a long story short, we discussed it, and she appraised me that they have the information, but because of whatever, that it's available in a file, and they have a new entity called NOLA.gov. Is that right? NOLA.gov? There's a data center. And that's a result. The data center was originally something started by the nonprofits way back, way at 2000, I think it was. And these were employees that would collect data and in those days and electronically massage that data and present information to the nonprofits that could help them grow and participate. That did well until all of a sudden they were housed in Mid-City in a very famous on Canal Street. I won't even go into details anymore. It's a bank. And then it fell apart after about 10 years. So some of the people who had been grinding and doing this work were able to connect with the city at that time, people who were going to listen. So they created a new entity, and I believe, I'm not sure if it's the proper title, but it's online, NOLA Data Center. I think that's the proper title, close to it, where they do a lot of reportings for politicians, they do it for pollsters, etc., and they give information broken up by neighborhoods or zip codes on population ingrowth, outgrowth, nature of gender, race, etc., all the distributions, all this information that is invaluable depending on what's your purpose and interest. So she told me that, Bob, that she would be kind enough to send me that data file, and it would be in the same format which we call Excel or spreadsheet format, which is the other way the others are. And I gave her my email, and I was hoping for timely response. I'm hoping against hope. So I've got to give her some time because I'm an impatient old person. I don't have a lot of time left. So I'm always pushing. So I don't want to get her too upset since it's been four months at least of me calling and interceding to try and get to this lady. So I don't want to jeopardize it, but I'm sure hoping that she's sincere. She was very pleasant. And I thanked her, sent her a note of thank you, So I'm hoping it works. Oh, goodness, look at that. Wow, folks, how you like our logo, huh? RS2. All right, anyway. So this tool is going to be, and it's very helpful for us for a lot of reasons. One, as I told you, for looking to see the lay of the land. It's marketing for us. We'll be able, because we want to have businesses of all sorts. In other words, Obviously, a lot of new businesses, because they need a lot of help. They're just starting out. Usually it starts with one individual, maybe their family members, and they need a lot of us. They don't know everything about it. They know what they do best or what service they're going to offer, but they don't realize all the ramifications of running and owning a business, nonprofit or for profit. So we're here for those, obviously, but we're also here for the well-established. One, to help them continue to grow, to other networking and socializing. We'll talk about it at the end of the day about events. But again, then hopefully the collaboration of an existing nonprofit or profit that has been in will help out a newbie. In addition to what we can do, we'll say, hey, take them under their wing and just develop that relationship. And I didn't emphasize much about the for-profits. The for-profits, private networks are usually things that their primary purpose is not only to meet and greet, but to create referrals among themselves. In other words, I'm a TV repairman. You're an accountant, okay? But I need an accountant to run my business. So maybe we can develop. Whenever the next time I can, if I already have one, let's see if I can place it with you, and vice versa, or give friends and relatives of mine that might need your service, and vice versa. So that's what's called referrals, and that way they grow and they prosper. So we're going to have that as well by having all of our people do like these presentations, and again, help patronize their service, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, and help them in different ways. That's our key. All right. So we're excited because we're going to primarily be using this right now, these reports, to recruit members, to have people, so we'll grow. We don't want to stay. I mean, if necessary, we'll stay if we don't grow with these other mechanisms. But what we do is we charge our members, and I say charge, not charge, we challenge our members to do just like we said in the for-profit referral system. That is, talk to your friends and neighbors about us. If they don't want to join us, that's fine. But see if they have any other connections that might, or services, and find out what kind of services they need or they provide, so we can try and help them. And that's where we ask our members to do word of mouth referrals of people, or bring a friend to the meeting, or we do a social event, or get them to watch on the internet. All right. So that's important. It's very important for us in the growth mode right now, so we can expand. Now, we don't want millions. We won't get millions out of these people anyway. But I'm saying we don't want to grow so fast, but we will. We'll take as many as we can. And again, we will try and prioritize, with everyone's help, helping everyone as best we can. All right. Now, along those same lines, let's talk about the last segment, which is part of the recruitment. So we said that some of the other ways that we do recruitment is, in addition to getting members, it's very important, whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit, to have what we call a board of directors. Wow, that's an official title, Bob, but you really have to do it in your filing to become a nonprofit or for-profit. You have to list if you're going to have people on a board and what will be their names and titles. And the reason being is that obviously one person, where a lot of these small nonprofits start up, but cannot do all that's required because there's so much paperwork. One is not only the forms in the beginning, but the ongoing forms. Meetings, you have to document the meetings, who attends and what goes on, so you can have proof that you actually you're not just a fly-by-night thing trying to get people to send money without actually performing services. So there's a lot of reasons. Not only that, so you have to have someone who's perhaps the money man or money lady. I mean, what do you mean by that? That's someone who can maybe do your accounting and your banking. So we're going to make a list, and we've already done that, and we'll do it even more. There are key people out there in the industry. Usually most of these are for-profit, but the for-profit in these roles, especially when they're in the executive position or higher, many of these corporations require them to do community service. Not out there picking up the papers, but this kind of thing. Join and try and get on a board or boards of civic or charitable organizations to help them out. They're important. So it's a mutual deal. One, it builds up potential customers for that bank because, hey, once again, the referral. you're good enough to be on our board and to help us out financially or whatever, then there's no reason we can't encourage all of our members as well as the organization itself to be using your bank. See? So that's the first thing. It's very important beyond getting the members itself, selecting up. Some boards, especially in the, I'm going to be a little bit sarcastic here, but some boards that are in a nonprofit don't know when to stop with regard to the number of it. They have like 30, 40 people on the board. Well, if all or half those people came to a meeting, nothing would get done because there's too many people. Everybody has too many views on this and the other. Most of those are what I call titular or honorariums. They want to get their name on it so they can say, "Hey, the governor's on our board," whatever. You follow? So a normal size board is, I would say, an average of 6 people, 10, 14 at the most. And that's a workable number because you want to put people like your insurance. Being an organization, you have to have insurance, or even to live in your house. So here's another situation that could potentially profit an insurance person for wanting to be associated with you. So these are some of the categories that you want to put on your board. Okay, now there's 2 other things which I haven't talked to Brian today about that I'm bringing back up, and that is one is using volunteers. Now, a lot of organizations force their members to be volunteers, to go out and help them at, like if they do an event, they're out there trying to force, or certainly ask politely, to come in. Like if they're going to run a race to win some, not to win, to generate some funds. That is a popular event for those sports-minded people, or a walk, or race, and they have an admission charge, and they do stuff for them. Well, in other words, again, you just can't just collect the money and then let them just run any hither, thither, and yon. You got to have secured the right of way. You have to get permits. You get tons of stuff. So that's where you intercede with your members to help volunteer, because you're not going to pay them to help do that work because you're costing yourself, the organization, more money that you wouldn't get. So you won't be doing it for literally nonprofit. You don't want to do that. You want to make monies to help your cause. Okay. So there are several national volunteer organizations where people, a lot of these are young folk in high school and colleges specifically, who want their resume to show, because it's very important. Today's world, not like old time here, where you just had to try and make good grades. You made good grades, that's all your parents and the teachers wanted, okay? And not endanger anyone. That was the other prerequisite, although that happened. But today, you not only you have to have tremendous grades to get in, you have to maintain those grades, but you have to show that you're willing to give of your time and your resources to the community that you're going to serve. So what better way than being a volunteer? And some volunteer jobs are paid. Some of them are most of them are not. A couple of situations I've done, I paid them per project. If there was a project I needed done, and I would give them agree to an agreed on amount, as opposed to, I can't afford as an individual to have a full-time employee. And I'm not running that kind of business. But at the same time, I would do my best to pay them some type of financial situation to entice them to do this project for me that I couldn't physically do for whatever reason, time or whatever. So the one that I'm familiar with and have used before, it's called volunteermatch.org, because it is a nonprofit, volunteermatch.org. And it does 2 things. One is, just like I said, if you're an employer or if you're some organization that needs volunteers, you sign up for them with them, and then you give all the details. Where you're operating, what do you need, what is the description of the job? You give all the details so that any one of the young people or people, any age, elderly, that looking to help out, can find it on their website by going to volunteer.match and looking up your criteria. Same thing if you're a volunteer and you want to tell them about, you go on and you join, you get your own account, and you, again, no charge, but you tell them what you want to do for other people or what type of job, just like a job. It's like a job placement service, because it will steer you to the ones that are of your mind. If you want to be like, since I do broadcasting, I always have one about help with some of the broadcasting. There's a lot of new ones we're going to do for this organization. So I started building the first one today, and I published it. So anyone that will go look on volunteer.match, or if they have an account with them, meaning if they registered with them for free, they will get notifications of new opportunities in their vocation right away. Or they can go and just like a recruit, just like you would be looking, if you were looking for a job, every day you go look at these services that offer jobs. Same thing, job boards. You'll be doing it. So we're hoping that'll bring some people to us. And again, we want to share that with our members who may not know that. And they're always, again, when they start what I call a mom and pop or a startup shop, they don't have all these people to be able to help them. And who do they go to for the board? They go to their family. They might have mom on the board, their sister on the board, daughter on the board, son on the board. And at the same time, these people may or may not want to do or be able to do what they have to do. So you're imposing on them, and they're just being nice because they love you and want you to be successful. Well, this way and again, if you offer these volunteers a chance to be interim or temporary board members to replace one that's not there or a position, that's great. All that goes on their resume. So when they want to go to another college or when they want to go out for work, they're not just going to show their grades and their years like I was able to do. They're going to, on what they did, they're going to show all these other things to show how much they recognize their value and want to share that with the rest of their community. Okay, so that'll be one. The other thing is an long time standing thing that's a general community online system. It's going through ups and downs. It started off as, well, I don't want to get through all the history. Everybody has goods and ups and downs and roller coaster stuff. And I used again, you can find jobs there, you can offer jobs there. And it's called Craigslist. Okay. You may or may not know. You hear all these things like Angie's List, which is now Angie's. And that is a private service that really provides a list of vendors, whether it's HVAC people, lawn people, blue collar people, and white collar people, for you to have supposedly a screening process. One, because you don't know who's available in your area or who will do the work you need. And they started off with good intent. Angie's List, once if there was a she, sold it to large organizations who dropped the list because they no longer is there that caring, because it's a conglomerate, that kind of assurance to you that these people are good people, meaning they're going to do the best job possible. No, these are people that signed up for them and are paying to be on their list. Just in case you don't have any concept where to find a person to do your job, you can go to one of these. And I'm not just picking on that one. That's just probably one. Craigslist started, and originally it was free. Now, once again, because of things, if you want to do certain things, you have to pay. Now, it's not like going to a private recruiting firm or something, not that expensive, but it is a charge, and those charges have gone up. But they still reserve space for you to do things for the community for free. So you don't have to, and that's what we're doing. We're doing the community thing, and some of our folks, one of our folks here, Mr. Bacon, I want to show him because I also want him to develop his nonprofit, Horns at Play. I'm sure I forgot to tell you that he will be on there as well, so the community can recognize to him, as well as develop his social media, which all of us should do now, to offer possibilities for donations, contributions, and resources of any type, physical or financial. So we're going there as well to try and get more people to join, to learn about it, well, no matter what their interests are, to see if we can help them out as well as increase our membership. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Macon. What time? Are we supposed to quit at 6? What is it, 6 already? I don't have anyone giving me a time. I have no clock. And I'm long with you. Okay. Just give me this, like what it's 5 minutes. That's what I used to have when I was in TV, folks. I had that, because I had a floor director. I even gave him cards with numbers so he wouldn't even have to use his hands, counting down from 20 minutes. At what time? Now. Okay. So our attendees are leaving. Instead of just saying that, that's fine. Okay. Okay. But we do appreciate you coming. Thank you, Ms. Macon, very much. Again, pleasure seeing you. Mr. Bacon, we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the book signing. Okay. We do have a few more minutes, or is that right, Mr.? Okay. Well, I'm talking to someone who'll be here. 20 more minutes? All right. So we've gone over some of the things. Don't want to cut quick just because our attendees are gone. Because again, we're hoping that some of you. Now remember, let me go back. I should have done this, but I don't like to take too much of the time away when we have people. Is that if you're watching on any of our platforms, whether it's YouTube, the 3 Facebook platforms, the LinkedIn, or Twitter, you can make a comment. If you're used to social media at all, you can make a comment on any post, like whether it's a static post or a video. So if you care to make a comment or a question of anything that's said here or you want to be said here or to help with, just type it in your comment section on your phone or your laptop or your PC, however you're watching us. And our good friend Lynn, who's our production manager here, will let me know what are the questions. Now, you just want to say hi. If we have empty time, then we'll also just entertain that, just to recognize you for being on. But we're using that as an avenue for you to communicate what you'd like to see from this on. Because that's the key. We ask all of our new members and exhibitors, what would you like to see from you? How can we help you? What do you think it's worthwhile for you to see? Okay, and I can only know from you expressing it. If you don't want to do it or you don't watch online and you don't come in person, you can, if you do have an email account, you can send me an email. And mine, for those who don't know, it's Bob, B-O-B, that's the easy part. The @ Bob @ and let me spell it for you, the letter R again, 2 R's, the letter E, the letter V, the letter U, the letter E, that's a lot. Bob @ RREVUE.net, N-E-T, not com, and that's where a lot of people make mistakes. We had a com before, but our friendly Chinese people hijacked it years ago, so we had to change to .net. So any thing you want to send by email to us, Bob @ rreview.net, I will receive it directly and respond to you. And if we need to do research and talk about it here, we'll certainly will if you wish. All right. Now, let's see if there's anything else. We've talked about members helping us out. We talked about how important it is to have board members, and that's why we will be giving our members a list of industries that we would like to have to sit on the board as a member, but if they're also kind enough to help us on the board, it's tremendous. That's what we need. Lastly, and I was hoping these folks would still be here, we want to talk about events. We didn't give it about events. A lot of people today are, as I said before, events are everything today. Everything is an event, and vice versa. We want to say that it's. I know there's something I wanted to say, and I forgot. Oh my! But a lot of organizations are strictly just like when I had the dining club. That was only meeting once a week to go to dinner and meet the people who attend. So nowadays, but everything in part of the whole marketing concept changed about 10 years ago, maybe, don't quote me on that, 10 or 15 years ago, where you had, whether you're for-profit or non-profit, you have to develop relationships, sort of like this networking. And the best way to do that, to develop relationships for people you want to ask to buy your product or donate your money, you have to set up social type events to have them mix and enjoy themselves. Years ago, it started with, maybe 40, 50 years ago, they would do a thing like an annual gala, they would call it. It would be a dress-up party. There'd be music, there'd be food provided to you, admission fee, of course, and there would be auctions. We talked about it, that I had done it for Mrs. Bacon's elementary school to help them raise some funds a few years ago. That was the primary event that everyone did, nonprofit and for-profit. Now, everything has to be crafted around events. So what a lot does is they actually will contact a provider of food or beverage or both and work some type of event stage there that will let the people get together, and if all possible, to develop contacts, ask for donations, etc. So we want to do that too, to lure the younger folk, and I don't mean 20s and stuff like necessarily, we'd love them. But of course, I'm an old fogey, and so a lot of them don't, I can understand they don't want to be involved with me, but to join this organization to see that if we have some type of social event or events, that will bring them together and hopefully let them socialize and see that maybe this organization is something they want to consider, especially when, we're not charging to be a member. And the reason why I keep emphasizing that is, as I've said before, that certainly the for-profit memberships are usually a paid membership with annual fee, monthly fees, stuff like that. The nonprofit, depending on the nature of the service or the product, could be a charge, could not be a charge. Anyway, all right, so that's what we want to talk about events. So we don't want to spend too much time. I don't know if you're familiar. I think we're getting down to the wire. Is that right? Let me see. But we'll be doing a whole show on events coming up relatively soon. And here's what I'm saying. Here's a perfect chance for you to send in, hey, Bob, I really want to know about events. I want something different. Everybody wants something, because after a while, like I say, the gala that was the staple of all nonprofits has become so commonplace. You can't get enough celebrities to appear, or fabulous auctioneers or fabulous donors who will give free things for you to auction off for your organization. So you've got to come up with more creative concepts, and if we can help you do that as well. Again, we're here for new startups to help design logos for free, to help get them printed with one of our vendors, so you'll get business cards. And we're not trying to push you there. We're saying if you need help, because that is still a basic means of communication and relationships, is business cards. The Japanese started that. Today, social media, of course, is the big thing. You can't just give a business card and expect to get all the business. You've got to be a part of social media. And many of the older folk like me, it's difficult to learn. Fortunately, I've been doing it left and right. So I have the technical part I don't understand, but the creative part I'm able to do fairly well. So we'll be glad to help you with that with both ends as we get members. Now, I think is that near the end? How much time do we have? Oh, 12 hours. See, I can't read. Sorry, folks, I have to keep getting close. There's a time ticker on there, but it's in such small print for me. I'm visually impaired, as you may or may not have heard too many times. So we still have 12 minutes. So we certainly don't want to waste your time. We haven't gotten any comments, anything, huh? No, so everybody's all quiet on the Western Front, huh? What we'd like you to do, I'm hoping that some of you all saw that, because we did have several people who, not only the new members we mentioned at the beginning, but several people who are way out of town who know me, who said they do want to participate. Now, again, timing could be bad, because either you're just getting off work wherever you are and you're in transit, stuff like that, and you don't have a way to listen to us or watch us, but you can. Of course, you can use your phone and go onto YouTube if you have internet connections and watch and listen. Hopefully not while you drive. But so what we'll do is we'll probably sign off now. We're going to be meeting again in 2 weeks. We're going to try and keep this up until we get a membership that says, or whether it's virtually or in person, that, hey, this time is just not working out. We need to move into the morning or whatever. And we also, some of the events, one last thing we talked about, in order to get our members, especially we're looking at several people that I know that either have restaurants or do catering or stuff like that, whereby we can do for those, if we get a lot of the for-profit people like to have a morning breakfast during their meeting, and then they go straight to work. So we can develop that. Some will do it lunch, but not as much and that's more the white collar. And those days are limited now with everyone's watching everything you do. But if we can develop something for having some in-person growth that would like to have that type of session, we'll do that. And of course, we'll also have some after-hours sessions that are predominantly social-oriented in order to get our membership. So please join us if you can. We As they say, all the other people are looking for funds. We don't get any funds from this, but we would like you to subscribe so we know there's people who have some interest in it. If you can, to YouTube or any of my channels, but certainly YouTube, the R space REVUE. If you ask me, I'll send you the link. And once you subscribe, then you'll always know when our meetings are because you get notice from YouTube. All right, or meetup.com. If you're familiar with that, go on meetup.com and look for our area, just like for New Orleans. And you can see all of the organizations that are with meetup.com. Well, I just saw some new ones today. Some philosophical ones came on and some cult kind of ones have come on, as well as politics. And a lot of them, since the pandemic, are doing national presentations online to whoever wants to be. But again, it's not the same as meet and greet, press the flesh. So that's why we'd like to encourage you to join us so we can develop an in-person network of people that want to meet other folks in their category and learn from them and also help them. All right? Until the 27th, July 27th at 5 p.m., it's Bob Bockelman for Resources Resolutions saying thank you very much for your attention, and please let us hear from you and come and see us sometime. Thank you.